Bombshell testimony from military officers. They say UFOs are real and they are a threat to national security.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Creatures of the night, be prepared to witness the weird, unknown, and extraterrestrial. There's no need for roads where we're going. It's the Drunk Turkey Show.
Life forms. Researchers at Harvard speculate that an unidentified technologically advanced population could be secretly living among humans on Earth.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man.
The Garden State might just be a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings.
To infinity and beyond!
Hey, greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Philip J. Fry, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show. Your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
You know what to do. Hit that button, like and subscribe. Welcome back to the Drunk Turkey Show. What is up, Big Blue? How you doing, my man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just enjoying my day off. So trying to catch up on all my stuff I need to catch up on it. This week I only got 2 days off. I know for most people it's normal, but not for me.
Oh, dang. 2 days off. 2 days off. Look at that. Look at that. Well, with that being said, today we're going to go back into the discussion of, the discussion is going to be about the attempted assassination that occurred this past weekend at a Trump rally where a young man named Thomas Matthew Crooks attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump. We spoke about it not too long ago. We got our reactions in. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go and check that out. A couple days into it, thinking about it. And thinking about it then, during that last podcast, I told you, Blue, that, it's something didn't smell right about it, man. It just stank. You know what I'm saying? Like there was just something wrong about this situation. Now, we went live like the same day this happened, so we weren't, privileged to all the information that was out there. We are now. Blue, what do you still think that there's some little stinky about this entire situation?
Yeah, man. I've been reading some of the reports and seeing a few of the clips there. I mean, my question is why wasn't it more fenced off? You know what I mean? Easy, close to those buildings. They should have had people up there, man.
Well, Blue, you're probably going to be a little upset when I start breaking some of this down, and we start talking about certain things that occurred. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, the first thing that I wanted to kind of discuss or talk about was the fact that a lot of people were thinking that maybe perhaps. There it is. I'm going to turn this down real quick. I'm going to share my screen. This is going to be a video of how close President Trump almost wasn't here, y'all. I mean, it's by the grace of God. So this is from Point Consciousness, and they did a little 3D model of what occurred and how close Donald Trump got to being hit.
Take a look what happened.
I mean, that's you can't get any closer than that, Blue.
I told you that night, man. If the reports were saying if he wouldn't have turned to look at that, he was showing it some graphs on the screen.
Yeah.
If he wouldn't have turned, man, that would have hit the back of his skull.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people were saying, he missed or this or that, or he was a bad shot. It appears that he would have been on target had not Trump moved at the last second. I mean, incredible. And for those that think that this is what's the word? Like staged. Like some folks actually think that Trump staged this somehow, and that what do you call it? There it is. That this was staged because there was a flag in the back. He stood up. He did all these things, right? And I don't know how you would stage this though. You're gonna trust some 20-year-old kid that's gonna put his life on the line to shoot you in the ear?
Nah, man, they would have got some professional. They would have got one of the professional sharpshooters that they already have on staff.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of question though about how the actions of the Secret Service was and law enforcement and why even Trump why he was even up there. Let me pull this off the screen and we'll break some things down. So this is where the rally was. So you have here where this was the stage here where Trump was speaking, is right center in the middle. This was the coverage in which they were protecting Trump. This is all they were looking at. This is where the shooter was at. So this was by design, the Pac-Man design here. What do you think first and foremost about that on its own, Blue?
Yeah, man, that's a weird spot to not have somebody up there because it's so close to the stage. I mean, I saw the fence line and it's like, man, that's close. I think they said it's only like 140 yards.
Yeah, if that, 140, 130. But it gets worse. Do you know what this building was used for, Blue?
Police parking? I don't know.
This was Secret Service and law enforcement headquarters. Some were inside the building as he climbed on top, crawled to the top and took his shots. Inside the building were Secret Service and police officers.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Very crazy. You would hear somebody crawling on a roof sometimes. You hear them.
You would think. I mean, it appeared that he was on a metal roof.
Yeah.
Okay, so he also brought a ladder with him, Blue.
Yeah, that's a lot of missteps right there. If he brought a ladder, brought the gun. But you can see him in that video earlier. He probably already had the ladder there or something. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff to miss to see somebody climbing up the ladder.
Mm-hmm. It sure is. It sure is. Let's look into this. So I'm gonna put this here. Here it is. So this is who the person who committed this crime, who is now deceased. This is Thomas Matthew Crooks out of Pennsylvania. Let me get a more recent picture of him. There it is. So it's a more recent picture of him. A lot of people are claiming that he was Republican, or a lot of people are saying that we're not saying, but apparently he registered as a Republican, Blue. Now he's 20 years old, so he can only have registered in the last couple of years. Why do you think he would have registered Republican if he wasn't? I'm assuming he's not. But if he wasn't, why would he register as Republican?
I don't know. I don't know why he would. Maybe the side of town that he lived at. I don't know.
Mikey says there was a ladder, but who knows if he used it. No, actually, he went to Home Depot, bought the ladder, and walked from Home Depot with the ladder in his hand to that location. But we'll get into that. We'll talk about that because that's coming up. So, Blue, here's the first thing that I think of, right? Who did he attempt to take out? Is Trump. So
the Republican nominee.
Right. And so to me, I thought it was more about, hold on, man, I'm frozen. Never mind, I'm not. I got distracted. So if he hated Trump, right? Don't you think that maybe he would have registered Republican to kind of maybe perhaps throw a wrench in things if he were to vote in the primary? You know what I'm saying? I mean, how many times is it? I mean, is that unheard of, where you'll see Democrats or even Republicans, um, register as the opposite, so that way when they vote in the primary, they can throw a wrench into the polls or into the votes or whatever.
Man, yeah, I've seen people vote both ways because they changed their mind, so I don't think it would matter much. I mean, I know the last time I voted, it didn't have like it did ask you if you had a preference, but there was one that was like in the middle because for the local races, some of the Democrats were a little bit better for the local races. I thought so.
I think it's when you register to vote, you'll put on there, if you're Republican or Democrat. Now, when it comes to the primary, I'll be honest with you guys. Like I've said it before, I'm not the most political person, so I've never actually voted in the primary. I've only voted once in my life for president or for anything, and I will this year. So this will be the second year or the second time that I do. So Archive Gig comes in with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Archive. Cheers, DTS, Daniel, and Blue. Thank you for the great continual content. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, so this is the guy. A lot of people, like I said, they're saying, oh, he's a Republican. We're trying to figure out what his motive is because he's Republican. Well, let's find out what he really is. I mean, after this video was found, I don't understand why they're still trying to find the motive.
My name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. I hate Republicans. I hate Trump. And guess what? You got the wrong guy.
So, I mean, do you think that this guy is, really Republican?
I mean, I don't think he was, man. I think he's just maybe when he was younger he was, and then he changed his mind.
Even if that were the case, this video is out there. Why not call a spade a spade? Why are they still saying, "Oh, he was Republican," so we don't know what his motives were? They're refusing to say that this was some sort of radical lefty that went, out of his way.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he hated the Republican Party and the Republican nominee, which is Trump. So you would think he'd be either left or he'd be an independent. So it's hard to tell, man.
It would be. I know some folks are saying that the video is fake. I'm not sure. I saw it on the on here. So if it is, we'll see. But obviously, I feel that this guy, I mean, the motives should be there. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. They've broken into his phone, Big Blue. Why don't you think that there would be some sort of indication of anything on his phone, whether it be search histories,
I mean, there would be some search histories, but his home computer is more interesting. I wonder what he had on his home computer.
It would be. Well, let's kind of walk, the days leading up to and what's been found out afterwards. So this is from Fox News. Says Trump shooter told boss he needed the day off before the assassination attempt. Gave 3-word reason for the report. Something to do is what he basically told his boss why he wasn't going to be at work that day. So he says here that the would-be assassin would have been at work on Saturday, but told his boss that he needed the day off because he had something to do, according to reports. Thomas Matthew Crooks was shot dead by Secret Service agents after firing 5 rounds, grazing Trump's ear, killing firefighter Corey Comperator. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And injuring 2 others at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The 20-year-old told his boss that he'd be back to work on Sunday, Blue.
Yeah. I mean, you got to tell the lie that you got to tell to take the day off, but to think that where he was at and to make it out of there alive to work the next day is BS, man. There was no way you'd be that close and get away. That I think, you know, he was he was close, man. Like, and the sharpshooters were higher than him, so of course they got him. But they should have also had somebody on that roof.
No, they were inside though, Blue. They were manning and securing that building from inside.
Yeah, it's funny that like command center where all the calls come in. They have to have somewhere where everybody reports to. So it might have been that office, which is pretty crazy because you might hear somebody walking on the roof and think, "Hey, who's up there? Is one of our guys up there?" And
So here's the other thing, though, right? If not if, but they found a transmitter on his person, and I think they found some explosives in his car. Now, I think that the thought was that he was going to try to create a distraction. That way he could and get away after shooting the president or former president. Now, what I'm thinking is he's probably expecting only to shoot once, not have to fire multiple times. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and that's somebody put out there. How do they know where exactly to go? Like, yeah, what if I mean, I'm pretty sure maybe they had a pre-run on it, or maybe they had, some places they hire the stadium people to build they hire the bleacher people and the stand people to build the bleachers like a week before. That way it's all prepped. So maybe he drove by and saw where it was going to be, and that's why he was able to prep for it. But to walk the same day down the street with a ladder, which is crazy.
Nah, man, this something has felt like somebody gave him a window. And here's the thing, though, and I know I don't want to jump too far ahead, because he was spotted, bro, by the snipers with the rangefinder on the roof 6 minutes or so before the shootings, or 3 minutes.
I mean, they could have been like, oh, it's just somebody seeing from far away that couldn't get a ticket or couldn't get in.
So they laid in a prone position with a rifle in their hands. It was the sniper that saw it. He has a scope.
Yeah.
Now,
I thought you said a rangefinder, not a sniper.
Well, yeah, they saw that about 6 minutes, but they saw him even before when he was also aiming down. In fact, there was reports that before the sniper shot, that he looked up and then went back down and shot.
That's crazy.
So long. And I was listening to that on one of the Fox News or CNN, one of those, I don't know. And it was one of the, it was a former Secret Service guy, but not for, it was for the Prime Minister of Canada. And he was talking about how this all went, there's something real weird about this. All right. But yeah, I asked that question too, Angel. How did he know where to go? How did he know that was going to be open? I don't know. So what did Thomas Matthew Crooks do leading up to the attack on the former president? So in the days since the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump, the pieces have begun to come together about what the suspect shooter was doing. In the lead up to the attack, the day before the shooting, Thomas Matthew Crooks went to a local shooting club and practiced on the rifle range. Counsel for the Clairton Sportsman's Club confirmed to ABC News. So he went practicing the day before, Blue.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy when I heard that. I mean, if you're gonna take a shot like that, you're gonna want to practice as much as you can. But I mean, it sucks, but that's what you got to do. You got to be good at what you're gonna do. And I think he would have got the shot if he wouldn't have turned, which was, 140 yard shot. I wonder what gun he used. I know they put it out there, or they haven't put it out there yet. I'm not sure, but I know they said high power rifle, but they didn't say what type when I was looking the last time.
It was an AR-15 style. I'm not sure. The 20-year-old purchased ammunition shortly before the incident, both online and in person, according to law enforcement sources. He asked his employer, a nursing home where he worked as a dietary aide, to take the day off the day of the shooting. He said he would be back as soon as the next day, sources said. On the day of the assassination attempt, he asked if he could borrow his father's AR-15 style rifle, saying he planned to go to the shooting range, sources said. Because Crook's father had previously let him use the gun for target shooting, he was not suspicious that his son was planning to do anything of concern. Crooks went to the local gun shop that day, where he bought 50 rounds of 5.56 ammo, or 556 mm ammo. He also stopped at a Home Depot to buy a 5-foot ladder. Though it was not found at the scene and is not believed to have been used in access to roof. Bullshit stuff. I thought that I had seen and read somewhere that he was seen there like an hour before the dang thing went off. The rally was there. There's multiple times he was seen.
When you said 5-foot ladder, I was like, man, that roof's taller than 8 feet, so he would need at least a 10-foot ladder to get on that roof. So he probably got it from somewhere else.
Oh no! Over here at the bottom here, it's showing when the victim got hit. All right, so he then drove to the Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania parking lot, parked about a third of a mile away at a gas station. For at least an hour before the shooting, Crooks was seen walking around near the rally area. Crooks was seen in a video obtained by Pittsburgh ABC affiliate WTAE, pacing just beyond the boundaries of the Trump rally at 5:06 p.m., around 1 hour and 5 minutes before the first shots were fired. He was also seen around and near the magnetometers minutes before the shooting. According to law enforcement sources, some witnesses reported him as a suspicious person. Law enforcement sources said, I think he was actually reported as a suspicious person early on by Secret Service sniper. They reported him because they saw him with the rangefinder. And this was like half an hour before the shooting.
Yeah. I mean, I did see that video, and it does look like him standing by the building on the bottom. So maybe he just kept getting on and off, you know.
That's possible. He then made his way to a nearby building, climbing up air conditioner units until he was able to get on the roof of an adjacent building, according to sources. So he jumped from one building to the next roof, and nobody inside heard that.
Yeah, I'd hear a thump at least, or at least the footsteps up there.
It's insane. And the fact is, it took, like, I understand that law enforcement was eventually notified, and they had 3 minutes or whatever before the shootings went off when law enforcement was aware. I get that. But when he jumped on there was, I think, like a few minutes before that. He still had to get to his position. He still had to lay down. So I don't know, man. And it wasn't until the folks outside of the building, you know, the citizens saw this guy crawling up there when law enforcement was finally somewhat notified.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it sounds fishy.
So it says, just before Crooks opened fire, rallygoers spotted him on the roof and tried to alert Secret Service. In an unclassified briefing Wednesday, law enforcement officials said 20 minutes passed between when Secret Service snipers first spotted Crooks on the roof and when he opened fire on Trump. He was identified as a person of interest 62 minutes before the shooting, they said.
Dang, that's crazy. I mean, they could have prevented that fireman from passing away, man. They would have got an officer out there to check him out and see what the hell is going on.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's why they were saying that they requested for somebody to be up there. They didn't have enough staff or something, and the state police should have been called in for help or something, or the next county police. But
yeah, man. I mean, it is fishy. All this stinks, dude. I've said it multiple times. It just stinks. All right, so it says here that a Butler Township police officer attempted to stop the shooter, climbing up the roof to approach him, but Crooks pointed his gun at the officer, prompting the officer to retreat, according to Butler County Sheriff Michael T. Sloop. Now, my question is, and I understand him retreating. I mean, what is he supposed to do, right? He's supposed to, like, dodge the bullets and get to him. You know what I mean? There's not much you can do, especially if you're in a bad position. So
Yeah.
him retreating is one thing. I'm fairly positive, and we'll see in a couple of videos here in a second, that he probably radioed in some stuff that was happening. Why was Donald Trump still talking on the podium? Why didn't Secret Service go up there and pull him out as soon, or why was he even at the podium if they had somebody suspicious on the roof?
Yeah. No, especially if there was a gun involved. He should have been, that should have been it. Take care of it first before we let him back on stage. That was crazy, man.
Exactly. It just makes zero sense. So it says here, it was at this point Crooks began to fire his weapon towards Trump, who at that moment turned to look at a Jumbotron, possibly saving his life. Not possibly. That is what saved his life. A Secret Service sniper shot back at Crooks, fatally shooting him in the head. 26 seconds later, Blue. They've spotted him 26 minutes earlier. They reported him as a suspicious suspect. They know where he's at. And it took the sniper 26 seconds to pull the trigger. This guy was able to get off 8 shots in that time.
Dang, I heard the shots, but I didn't know how many. I counted like 5 when I was hearing the shots.
Oh, he got off 8.
Dang.
And like I said, there's reports that the sniper was looking at him as the shooting was happening. He gets up, looks, and then goes back and then shoots, and that's why it took 26 seconds.
Yeah, and if it's an AR-15 style, you don't need much time to just keep pulling that trigger.
I mean, it's almost like the guy, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but it just seemed weird. And there was some reports that, I don't know how true they are, but there was some reports that apparently the Secret Service sniper was told not to shoot, to stand back, to stand down.
I don't know. I mean, if the police officer was behind there, or maybe because they were afraid the bullets were going to go in through them, but still, I mean, if you got a good enough sniper, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, if there's a threat, you got to take care of the threat first.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And the thing is, too, so there's been a lot of controversy about how all this went down. And the agency director, Kimberly Cheadle, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. We got a little bit of breaking news about that. It happened a couple of hours ago. She's now been subpoenaed to testify before Congress.
Yeah,
good.
Man. Yeah, I was gonna say they have to be accountable for what they did, and just like me and a friend were talking about, is like somebody's gonna get fired, especially from the Secret Service, especially from the police detail with all the details that were coming out. Somebody lost their job, especially that sniper that took too long.
Yeah. Mark says that claim of the sniper being told to stand down is a lie. Comes from 4chan. No, I understand that there was one from 4chan, there was one from Reddit, but I had also heard this from somewhere else. I can't remember where it was. I think it was some sort of news platform. Maybe perhaps they got it off of 4chan or something of that nature. But the thing is too, like if you got a guy and you've seen him for 20 minutes and he starts shooting, it takes you 26 seconds to shoot. I don't know, man. I mean, why not shoot earlier? Do you think that's the position or the decision of the shooter? Or do you think he's ordered and he waited as long as he could? I don't know.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Somebody said there's a commercial that he was in, but I don't know.
What do you mean a commercial he was in? What kid? I'm not familiar with the kid that you're referring to.
I thought they were talking about the shooter. My bad.
Oh. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar. I don't know what BlackRock commercial is either. I really don't watch too much TV to see commercials, guys. I apologize. When I do watch TV, it's usually like if it's something that I can fast forward through commercials, it's happening, or I don't have them at all. All right, so anyone figure out how he got the ladder there, or did someone else put it there? Well, we know that he purchased the ladder from Home Depot about an hour or so, or a little bit before he went to the rally. It's unsure what he used it for, or if he took it there or not. Thank you, Mikey, for gifting a Drunk Turkey Show membership. We appreciate that. So, Kimberly,
yeah, I found it. It's like some BlackRock coffee company who was. Looks like he might be in the commercial, but let me see if I can find the link for it and I'll send it.
The shooter?
Yeah.
Really? That's weird. I did not hear that. That's insane. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. So these are some videos to kind of show you some perspective of this is a video filmed minutes before Donald Trump was shot at the campaign rally. Let's take a listen.
I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful place with the gorgeous ocean.
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down. See him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
All right, so this is before the shots are, and somebody's notifying that he's laying down. That's super ass suspicious. They should be getting Trump off of that podium, at least at this point. I mean, it should have been done a lot sooner, but it should have been at least at this point. All right. Oh, I got it on Discord. Let me check that out real quick. So, all right. So check out this before the show. All right. I'll check that one out. So, the BlackRock ad features Thomas Crooks. It's that'd be insane. Trying to play it. I need to find a link to that ad, but then again, they might copyright that thing.
Supposedly the link got pulled from their website, so just people who had it recorded put it on there.
Really?
They did like a recording at a school. It's a commercial about, and then he's in it.
Interesting. I don't know, man. That's crazy.
What's happening? Yeah, look. There he is.
So I could see and tell based on the uniform that was a police officer there. This is still plenty of time to notify, hey, tell Secret Service, get Trump off the stage. We got a situation.
Millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here.
Right on the roof.
It's much tougher than what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit of God. He's going down!
Stay over here. He's on top of the roof. Don't go over
there. Insane, man. Even the people in the stands were yelling, he's got a gun, and running out there before the former president.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, man. I told you, like, somebody dropped the ball bad.
Oh, yeah. It gets worse. Look at me.
We noticed the guy crawling.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof, telling the police, We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they.
That's the other thing. So there's a slope on that roof, right? And I believe they asked the head of the Secret Service. They asked, "Hey, why wasn't that roof? What was up with that roof?" And they said, "We identified that roof as a problem, but they felt that they couldn't put anybody up there because it was a slope, and that it would something about the slope. Yet the roof that they're on, the snipers on that took the shot." They too are on a slope, probably a higher slope than the one the shooter was on.
They needed a higher vantage point, but they still should have had somebody either. Once I know what they mean about the slope, because it looks like he had to slide down to get to the spot where he was at. So to have somebody up there posted, it's a fall risk, but still, I mean, it's crazy.
They could see.
It really is, man.
Why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here?
It's a good question. Why wasn't them on all of them?
So we are confident in these security plans that are in place for this event, and we're ready to go.
Okay, that's for the RNC that had occurred already. Crazy stuff,
they ended up, shooting a guy there too, man. He was wielding a knife.
Yeah. And look, there's some more new videos. This is from. Let me see if we haven't seen this one already. All right, so we'll watch this one.
This afternoon, the FBI has accessed the suspected gunman's cell phone and other electronics. Also, 2 law enforcement officials who spoke to ABC News say the building the shooter gained access to was the staging area for the local police tactical team doing overwatch of the crowd.
So it was the tactical team watching over the crowd. They were in there watching the crowd from inside that building that he climbed up on.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
This is just, I mean, how would he even know that, I mean, if this was something somewhat allowed, let's just say allowed, right? And maybe somebody gave the guy a heads up and somebody was allowing it. I mean, wouldn't it, I don't know. I mean, this just seems kind of weird. All of this, it just seems like it was allowed. I can't, those are the words that come out when I see all these things, that they allowed it to happen. Now, I'm not saying that they planned for this kid to do it, but I think that they had already put out all this information, including, I think Biden said earlier last week, something about, let's put a bullseye on Trump. You know what I'm saying? 100%. Let's pray for the victims.
He was asked that question, I think, on a report yesterday. And he was like, well, I didn't mean it like that. I meant something else. But,
But the rhetoric that has come out and including the lies, I mean, you can go back to the debate. It's still going on. Biden was pushing that rhetoric about, good people on good sides or whatever it was, that has been debunked multiple times, and he continued to go at it. They've called him Hitler. They've called him everything in the world. They said that if he becomes president, it would be, a threat to democracy or the end of democracy. I mean, you're putting it in somebody's mind there. There's somebody that is probably not stable, because there's a few of them out there. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying they're all just on the left. They're everywhere. You'll get your radicals on every side, but that's who you're targeting. And you're not saying necessarily hoping, but you're putting out there that, for those individuals that, hey, this guy's a threat. Something needs to be done. I mean, and they gave him a window to do it.
It's like the same thing. The media did the same thing with the whole Israel, conflicts, and let's go protest at the school, and well, guess what? Those students that listened and were there protesting and didn't listen when the police told them to leave. Now they're crying. another crime because they can't continue to go to school when they caused the havoc. They were there like occupying the grounds, not letting kids go to class, destroying the buildings. So now a bunch of them are crying, saying that it's not fair that they can't finish their schooling at that school because they were protesting and destroying stuff. There's a school student code of conduct that they should have listened to. You can protest, but it's got to be peaceful.
Yeah.
And a lot of those were not peaceful.
Right. And the same thing goes for your political views and being a politician. Go out there, rally, do what you got to do, but keep it within, respect. By calling this dude the next Nazi, Hitler and Nazi and all these things, like,
where do you know he's not? I mean, look at the he was already the president for 4 years. He didn't do any of that stuff that they're claiming. So, and the economy was better, and it's the way it's going. It needs to be fixed. Something needs to be changed.
Yeah, I hope so, man. And now, get this, bro. Now there's a heightened alert for a supposedly an Iranian attempt on Trump's life as well. Now, do you think that that's potentially the deep state, already throwing something out there, so that they can have an excuse? Or do you think that maybe perhaps other countries have seen how weak we looked in that moment and think they can take advantage of it?
Yeah, there's going to be you'd think another country would take advantage of it. I mean, that's the only way they can actually complete the job, because they don't want to. It's hard when the tariffs and everything he was making everybody pay was actually helping us, but it's not really helping us, helping the billionaires that live here. But I guess they were giving us a little bit.
Well, it trickles down, my man. So if you and I get it, the Democrats are like, oh, the rich are getting a lot of the money and yada yada yada. I understand that aspect of it, but if the wealthy are doing good, usually so is everybody else down the line. I mean, those that are way up there that have the money to control things, when they're not being taxed as much, they start building. They grow up other businesses, which requires more employees, which requires more wages, which requires more people who have money in their pocket who then go out and then buy goods in their local area, putting more money into their economy. When you start taking the money from the top, jobs start getting cut. People start getting put on social programs and things of that nature. So I get it. If I get, and it looks bad because if I have $1,000 to my name and you multiply it by 10, that's only 10 grand. Well, if he has $1 million, 10 million, I mean, it looks like they got a lot more, but the percentage is what the percentage is. And what that person can do with the other 9 million is probably create some more jobs and more opportunities for a lot of other people, which is also going to create more wealth for him or her, obviously. Right. But then with that extra abundance of wealth comes usually more things. And if it's not businesses, it's properties, it's real estate, which allow people to move into certain places and things of that nature. So, I get the argument, it's, make them pay for everything because they're well off. But at the same time, I'm a huge believer in, you got to work for what you got, what you have. I'm a very strong believer in self, that, you tie your shoes, you pick up your pants and you go to work. I've done it. I started at the bottom at one point. And so I'm not saying I'm at the top, but I'm trying to get there. You know what I mean? And if you're looking at what other people are doing in those scenarios and not focusing on what you're supposed to be doing, then you're never going to get there either.
Yeah, man, that's the problem is we are making everybody rely on the government to take care of us, and that's not what it was made for in the beginning. It was made for, pretty much we're standing up against, was it England, that we were trying to not be ruled by their king.
You see, here's the thing, though, when it comes to government. Our government wasn't supposed to rule us or anything like that. Our government was supposed to be like a referee in a football game. It's not supposed to help either side win or do any of those things. It's supposed to make sure that everybody's playing fair within the rules and nobody's violating certain things, those rules.
Yeah, it was,
and if somebody does, they get punished.
They didn't. One of the main reasons why is because they were tired of paying all these taxes to this foreign government. That, guess what we're doing? We're doing the same thing. We're paying all these taxes to this government. So,
our dollar is taxed so much. A lot of folks, I don't think people realize how much our money is taxed. We're taxed when we go to work, right, on the earnings, and then you go and use that earnings, and if you go spend it on things that you need, you're taxed on the items that you've purchased with money that's already been taxed, right? So figure that you're getting taxed on purchases with money you spent that's already been taxed. Now you got to get there, right? So you purchase fuel with the money that you've already been taxed with, and that's taxed too. Whether you live in an apartment complex or in a house, somebody's paying the taxes on that property, and it's usually whoever's residing there. Meaning that, yeah, a landlord is going to pay, their taxes in their name, but they're using the money from the tenants. Get what I'm saying? So the tenants are really the ones who are paying up that bill. So, they tax you at every single turn, dude. And it's like, if you try to say, all right, I'm going to save up money because of inflation and because of, the way our money and dollar is going, it ain't going to be worth anything to save it. You know what I mean? And so the rich don't pay taxes. Well, not always true. That's not true. Some do, many do.
There's some tax laws that they use, and they use them to their benefit the same way we can use tax laws to our benefits. But sometimes you got to make a certain amount that we don't make to get those benefits. So it's like, and then if we make more, we get taxed more. I mean, I see it all the time at work, They try to, I always say it's, they try to keep us poor by driving us to kill ourselves. You know what I mean? You work your 40 hours, you get your check, and then you say, all right, overtime comes up. I got a vacation coming. I got something coming. I'm going to work overtime. You work all this overtime, and then you're like, oh, you found the next tax bracket. Well, guess what? We taxed you more. And then you're like, well, was it even worth working?
Exactly, dude. It's insane, man. It's insane. But yeah, do the rich not pay taxes? Again, it goes back down to, all right, so, we can force the rich to pay taxes, and they'll do so. And in order to do so, to make sure that they get their profits, they're going to cut jobs, maybe perhaps not open up new jobs in new places, because that's a tax write-off. One of the tax write-offs that they write off is actually business stuff, purchasing land for business use, opening up a new business. All of those things are tax-free. So, yes, you can force them to pay taxes and all those other things, but it ends up hurting everybody in the end too. The reason why they're given these tax breaks is because they can open up more opportunities for other people to work their way up as well. And not everybody that's made it in life made it because they were born into it. Somewhere down the line, somebody had to make their way up the ladder. It can be anybody. Why not you, right? So let's get back into this.
We're getting our first look at new video from bystanders near the Western Pennsylvania campaign rally for former President Trump. In one video, we see police look onto the roof, a man in white shorts pointing toward the building. This all unfolding 1 full minute before the suspected gunman opened fire in an assassination attempt. Another shaky video from bystanders shows people panicked and fleeing the scene. 30 seconds before we hear the first gunshots, the group seemingly aware something is wrong. And now, 2 law enforcement officials telling ABC News The building where Thomas Crooks gained access to the roof was the staging area for a local police tactical team, which was apparently unaware of what was happening at the time.
A direct line of sight like that to the former president should not occur.
Today, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas appearing on Good Morning America.
It is very important that the facts be learned by an independent body outside of the Department of Homeland Security so that the integrity of the investigative process and the conclusions reached and the recommendations made have the full confidence of the government and the American public.
Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle is now scheduled to answer to Congress. The Republican-led House Oversight Committee announcing this afternoon it will hold a hearing next Monday to demand answers from Cheadle about what it calls a security lapse. Sources previous
A security lapse. That's what they're calling it, Big Blue. You call this a security lapse?
Man, it was a big lax if it was. I mean, but like that cop when he was looking up there, he it was a 20-foot building, so of course he can't see the top of it, and then he's just seeing what people told him.
No. There was cops that saw and had seen and had known.
Yeah, that cop.
The fact that one cop jumped up there, there's got to be a reason he jumped up there. It wasn't just because he wanted to check it out.
Yeah, no, I know the other cop, but that cop in that video, they're telling him somebody's out there, and he's looking. And you can't see from that line where he was at, and it's a 20-foot tall building.
Right. Mark says Bezos doesn't spend his own money on business. He takes out loans, which are tax deductible. He pays some sales tax, but he chooses not to build his super yacht in the U.S. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the thing is too, like,
you get taxed, and they get overtaxed on certain things, man. It's just crazy.
I don't disagree. Oh, go ahead, William. Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
I said they would spend a lot more of their money here if we didn't tax them the 15 extra percent, 30 extra percent, on whatever they're buying. So by the time they're done building like you say, a super yacht, instead of paying $1 billion here, they would have to pay 40% in taxes if they built it here, and when they pay it somewhere else, they pay 15. It's crazy. That's how much money our government's making themselves lose. I mean, I understand, it's a privilege, but I think when it comes to automobiles and vehicles and boats, the taxes should be the same all the way across. Whatever everybody pays should be a fair price, whatever the value of the car is. You know what I mean? But when you go over a certain amount, they charge you extra.
True, and I mean, there's tax laws and stuff that people in loopholes can get into. And I'm not talking about the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, right? I'm talking about majority of those that are up there and, that are multimillionaires and billionaires. They do it because they own businesses in real estate, right? That's mainly what it is. And maybe some of them do like stocks and crypto and all those other things. But for the most part, especially for those that it affects us, those that are in the middle class or just above middle class or lower caste, it is going to be those that do build those businesses and stuff. So yeah, are there going to be others that can take advantage of this? Obviously, just like there are some at the bottom end of the totem pole that are taking advantage of social services such as welfare and things of that nature. There's a lot of people taking advantage of that, and yet there are quite a bit more who probably do require and need those assistances. So should we punish those that do need the assistance for the few that are taking advantage of it? Probably not. And in time, those, whether you're at the top of the totem pole like Bezos or at the bottom, if you continue to do things like that long enough, you're eventually going to do something wrong, and you're eventually going to get caught. And it's only a matter of time before things happen. You know what I'm saying, Blue?
Yeah, I was gonna tell you, I got about 5 more minutes left, man. I forgot my cord in my house, so I got about 10 minutes left on my battery. Just a heads up.
No problem, man. If I see you bounce, I know what it is. Let's see. I'm gonna try to play this real quick. All right, good. There's an ad, so I'm gonna wait for this ad to finish. So, but yeah, dude. I'm gonna pull this up here in a second. We're gonna look at this other video.
Yeah.
All right, here it is. So this is, I believe. Oh, there's a video of Thomas
Yeah, you
Coates.
can clearly see him turn around and look. Watch. So I was watching it earlier.
Okay. And he's looking for a way to get up there. He doesn't have a rifle or anything in his hand at this moment. So obviously he probably has it stashed somewhere. Right? Because I believe he parked like a mile down the road. Unless he looked around, figured out what he was going to do, and then walked all the way back, got his stuff, and walked all the way back there. That's quite possible. Kind of creepy to see this dude just walking around right before all this went down.
Yeah, man, that's what I thought was crazy. Like, you can clearly see him there. There's a fence line, and he could have jumped that fence line. I'm pretty sure the cops would have chased him down or something, but it was not a secure area at all, man.
That's a high roof, man. I understand getting on an AC unit, but
yeah, no, I mean, you look at the picture of that cop standing next to it. It's got to be a 20-foot roof.
I mean, if you could look at him, he's not that. I mean, he's closer to the camera than that building, so he's larger than what obviously that building is. If he would have stood right up against it,
yeah,
and that building looks quite a bit taller than what he is.
Yeah,
and he had some assistance.
20-foot roof on it, man.
All right. I don't know. And a lot of people saying was the ladder there. I don't know if there was a ladder there. I think there's been some speculation that there was a ladder there. And they don't. I don't know if they don't know if that was a ladder that he purchased at the Home Depot on his way there, or maybe perhaps it was the ladder that was already there.
When you do look at the other video that they showed the side of the building, there's like a little shed next to it, and then I think if you took a 5-foot ladder, he could have gone the shed, and then from the shed jumped onto the other building where they saw him, where you see him crawling up. And I would say, yeah, he can make it up that way, because the shed might have been like 8-10 feet tall. The ladder's 5. He just jumps the rest of the way up, and then on the other one he would just have to do a jump up, and then that's when he was crawling when they were telling the cops.
Yeah. So this is the angle that he had. This is where Trump was. This is where Corey, the firefighter, ex-firefighter, father of 2. This is where he was struck. And this up here is where he was basically positioned. And this is the direction of gunfire. I wonder what this is.
I don't know. I know people sit in the stands. It looked like somebody went down right behind them. So I think that might have been where some of the victims went down. Maybe when he got shot, or he was shooting, he's just shooting wild. And he took some people on that side, because you see in the back of the video people going down from either being scared or getting hit. So.
Given where Corey was, I thought Corey was behind him. Corey likely saved Trump's life. Yeah, because he was in between Trump and the shooter. That guy's a hero. That's for sure. All right. A couple things else I wanted to show you guys. Get your opinion on. Hopefully this goes on before Blue gets out. This is a video. This is Robert Kennedy Jr. on the phone with Donald Trump a day after the shooting. Let's listen to this recorded conversation.
I just turned my head to show the chart, and something whacked me. It felt like a giant, like the world's largest mosquito. And it was a bullet going right.
Oh, man, I thought it was the whole thing. Oh, there it is. It continues. So that's what I get for not watching.
It was very nice.
Let's back it up right there.
It's interesting. It was very nice, actually. He called me, and he said, how did you choose to move to the right? Because, so I guess that's, people say, if I was looking straight on, right? He said, I said, I was just showing a chart. I didn't have to tell him the chart was on all the people pouring into our country, right?
I think he's talking about when he was speaking with Biden.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
What do you think about that? Biden asking him, like, how did you know to turn to the right?
I don't know, man. It's another
weird, right? That's weird,
weird.
right? Like, I take it a different way, man. I don't know. Maybe my conspiracy hat is on a little too tight, but I take that a little bit different.
But Delco just turned my head to show the chart, and something wrapped me. It felt like a giant, like the world's largest mosquito. And it was a bullet going around. You know, what do they call that, an AR-15 or something? That was a big gun. Those are pretty tough guns, right? Remember I said I want to do small doses. Small doses. When you feed a baby, Bobby, a vaccination that has like 38 different vaccines, and it looks like it's meant for a horse, not a 10-pound or 20-pound baby. It looks like you should be giving a horse this. And do you ever see the size of it, right? It's just massive. And then you see the baby all of a sudden starting to change radically. I've seen it too many times. And then you hear that it doesn't have an impact, right? But you and I talked about that a long time ago. And anyway, I would love you to do stuff. And I think it'll be so good for you and so big for you. And we're going to win. We're going to win. We're way ahead of the guy.
He ain't wrong. They are pretty far away. Sirius comes in with a $3.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. Thank you. Angel said something earlier. She said, Trump makes light of everything. It's his style, I guess. I think in this situation, what can you do? You can either make light of the situation, or you can be terrified of the moment. Now, I'm sure he's probably going to have some second thoughts next time he gets up on a podium. You know what I mean? Especially if it's out in the open like that. I mean, I don't think you can go through something like this and not have those feelings. So.
All right, man. My computer's about to die. Have a good night, man. Y'all take care.
You too, my man. I'm going to probably call it here in a minute. I'm just going to answer some questions. Thank you so much for sticking tuned. For staying with me, Blue. All right. So Big Blue's going to be jumping off. I'll be answering any questions or comments anybody might have up until this point. Let me know. And I'll be on probably for the next 5 minutes or so. Let's see. No more vaccine. Yeah, I agree with you on that one, my man. I agree with you on that one. I'll be honest. I never got that thing. I don't want to the jab, I guess, right? Because we can talk about Trump and his near miss there for the most part. Don't seem like YouTube minds as far as like knocking down your channel. But the moment you start bringing up like the jab and stuff, boom, you start getting crazy. Do you know anything about the radio communication abilities between locals and feds? That's going to be kind of tricky. I'm not familiar because I've never had to speak to an agent on the radio. Wait, you know what? I'm lying. So where I worked at, we could talk to agents and Border Patrol and ICE. So we had that ability on our radios. And if it's the same thing that's with Secret Service, which I'm assuming so, then I would think that they would have been on a special channel. Like there's so many channels on your radio. And this was, when I was an officer, last time I wore the uniform was like 15 years ago. So I'm assuming that things have probably improved since then. So, it's usually just a different channel. However, I'm not sure if they're all on one special channel, because that's what we used to do. Like, if we ever had some sort of thing happening, whether it was a parade or somebody coming into town that we need to do an escort for, or any of those type of things. We would go to a separate channel that was on the main channel where you'd have all your traffic on, and it would be a special channel to weigh in because you had different channels for the different agencies that were in the area. So I think they could, but then again, I'm not too sure about Secret Service and how they do their things. Did you see Biden reading pause on the teleprompter? Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen Biden do some crazy stuff, to be honest with you. All right, so Eric comes in saying with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Eric says, Daniel, I remember a story on the DC sniper where he missed a guy at a gas station and victim said, I thought it was a bug. Interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, it probably did sound like a bug to, Trump, because it was right by his ear. It may have sounded like a whistle or maybe perhaps what a bee would sound like. I don't know. I've never, and I hope I'm never that close to a round to know what it sounds like to hear one pass by your ear like that. It's crazy. Biden's been reading everything on the teleprompter for a while now. They need to work on that. Yeah, he's done some things. And not only that, like earlier, he accidentally read something to the effect that I have a list of people that I'm supposed to select here to call on for questions, basically saying that the questions were already handpicked and he was supposed to already talk to, pick out certain reporters because he was going to know the question and he was going to have prepared answers for it. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And y'all see the pic where you can see the bullet? I did see it. I saw that. It's insane. It's crazy. That in that moment it was captured. I mean, the whole thing was just crazy. I mean, the fact and how it went down, and then even after the fact, like the pose that Trump does, there's a flag in the back. Like, I understand why people say, oh man, it must be staged. It's not. The reason why the flag was there is because of the cameraman underneath the podium. That camera person that was taking those pictures where you can see the bullet pass by, and he wanted to make sure that there was a flag on top of that. So after the shooting, it just so happened that flag was already there. And I get it. People would say, oh, what about the fact that, they let him get that moment where he put his hand up? I don't think they tried or let him. It was just the fact that the person that was right there in that moment was a female that was significantly shorter than him, which is the only reason he was allowed to do that. If you look at the Secret Service agent behind him, he's blocking Trump's head and his hand is on top, basically almost on top of the back of it. The person in front of him isn't because of a height issue. But yeah, I saw those pictures. It's crazy. It is crazy. Let's see. Epic pic. Yeah, it was an epic picture. It definitely was. And I'm sure he didn't want to get shot in the ear to make sure that happened. But there's no doubt that there are probably a lot of people who were on the fence after seeing how strong he was to get up and say fight, after being shot in the head. I mean, I know it was his ear and he just kind of grazed him, but he's literally shot in the head, and not hide or scurry away or run away. He stood tall like a leader. I'm sure there was a lot of people that were on the fence, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them that decided that they were going to go for Donald Trump. I know I don't want to say I was on the fence because I don't think I was. I will be honest with you. At one point I was on the fence on Donald Trump, and that was back in 2015, 2016. I wasn't sure about him. Now, after his presidency and throughout it, and I started to see some of the clearance of the swamp, so to speak, and he brought out so much corruption from politics. It's insane. And then I find it odd that some people would tell me like, "Hey, you're supporting a man who's a felon, who's done this and that." My question is to you then, why did it take a felon or a person that did this or that to show these politicians how to do the job right, how to do it good? I mean, obviously, if he's been able to do it and he can fix, and he was able to run this country the right way. There was no wars, with us being involved while he was president, stuff like that. Yeah, there was some. I think there was a couple of issues here and there where the United States, took care of business when it came to terrorists. But outside of that, there wasn't anything crazy. In fact, I think Donald Trump's presidency is the only one that Russia didn't take land in I don't know how long. Russia's taken land with Obama, took land with Biden, and I think with Bush too. And now I'm not very political, and if I'm wrong, you probably I know I'm going to hear it in the comment section. But a lot of things we're going really, really well. The last 3 years, not so much. And so I can just tell you based on that alone. So I wasn't on the fence this year, but those that were, I'm fairly positive that they've maybe went one way or the other. Like the last 5 presidents, yeah, 100%, 100%. Did something get was it confirmed on Caleb? Eric comes in. I've not checked in with you guys for a while. Is Jaime still in the mix? God bless Drunk Turkey Show and all in the chat. I'm trying to get Jaime to come back on. He's got a lot of stuff with his schedule and stuff. I'm trying to get him to come back on for like a show or two. Or I mean, if he wants to come back on permanently, he's more than welcome to. But I'm trying to get him to come back on for a show or two. We've almost scheduled it, then not scheduled it, then almost scheduled it. His schedule's pretty tight, and so is mine. Mine's going to be fluctuating for a little bit. After the next 2 months, I have another project that's coming up that's probably going to take me to work a little bit longer. So get used to these later shows, because in the next 2 months, that's probably what's going to be happening. Let's see. I don't think Trump ever really expected to be president the first time. I think he did, and I'll tell you why. There was a moment, and I didn't see it at the time. I saw it afterwards. Because like I said, I wasn't very political back then. But I saw this program, and it showed this moment where President Obama, roasted Trump and said something about, I know one thing I'm going to be that you'll never be, and that's the president. And I think that was the moment where he decided he was really going to do it. He got a lot of votes. I know there's some theories there that, was the election stolen? Was it not? I have my opinions on that. I don't know if it was necessarily stolen, but I wouldn't say that it was the cleanest election in the world either. So, with that being said, I do think that he got quite a bit of votes. So he was trying to win both times. And this time, I think he's just blowing the water out with it. Yes, Caleb. No. It's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. Prayers out to him and his family. Said on the Jimmy Kimmel, he said it there, but he also said it at a dinner, because Trump was in the video that I saw. There was like a big old hall, and there was a lot of people in there, and he was sitting there kind of just laughing, looking at Obama up there. But he may have said it then too. I wasn't the biggest into politics back then, so I didn't really watch everything or anything that they presidents came out in and stuff. To be honest with you, it wasn't until I got a real job and started to see how things were affected with finances that I started to look into certain things. When you're growing up and you're in school, they don't teach you anything about anything. They teach you how to pass a test. They don't teach you about, economy. They don't teach you how to save money. They don't teach you about bank accounts. They don't teach you about things you're actually going to use in life. But hey, I dissected a frog once. I did that. I've used that I don't know how many times in my life. So because of that, I think that there could be a huge disconnect with what is beneficial and what is right and things of that nature when you're looking at politics at a young age. And maybe now there's some differences. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been in school. But the last time I was there in last I heard, they weren't really teaching those things. All right, so let's see. Let's see if I'm see if there's any more in here. Florence goes, I wasn't into politics until Trump ran. You know, I wasn't into politics then. I didn't vote in 2016. I've only voted once in my life, and you can probably tell if I didn't vote in 2016 and I really wasn't into politics before, you probably can tell which one I voted in. Yeah, it's pretty much the same for me. You know, when Trump was president, you know, financially, you know, this is anecdotal for myself, for a lot of people that I know, you know, business owners, things were a lot better than it is now. A lot better. But, well, guys, that's what we got tonight. We'll be back on Friday. I'm not sure what the conversation is going to be on yet. It's probably going to be on something either, well, if anything comes out in the Brian Koberger case or something, you know, breaking news comes out, we'll probably talk about that. We'll probably talk about, if nothing happens in the true crime sense, then we'll probably go back into maybe perhaps UFOs. So you don't want to miss it then. I'm not sure what we're going to do, but keep tuned. Tomorrow, guys, if you haven't checked out the members only on Sunday, I had a great conversation with the members. I'm going to be releasing that live show. That was, you know, a recording of that live show on Spotify. It should be airing out tomorrow morning. Make sure you guys go and check it out. I appreciate everybody. You guys have a great night, and we'll be back in a couple of days. That being said, I'm out of here, guys. Peace.